Let's get it. Let's go.
It's a track, man, on my Spotify, on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah, I have the track on Spotify.
I think what was your second one you did?
Yeah. The first one was a freestyle, a little baby beat.
Yeah.
It's fun, man. It's fun, man. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like we work so much, right? Like especially like, bro, I work some stupid amount of hours, right? Like sometimes I'm going like 30 days in a row, 14, 16-hour days, right? Leave Zach's place, go swing a hammer in a flip or go door knock, right? Like it's do stuff like that fun, right?
So like music to you is kind of like a release.
100%.
Yeah. It's an escape kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, yo, Michael Clarke, brother.
Yo!
Nerds. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and sit with us today, man. I'm ready to deep dive into your journey and your story and everything, bro.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
Of
I
course.
appreciate it. Likewise.
Of course.
Feelings mutual.
Yeah, 100%.
For those who don't really know you, do kind of just want to give us a little like explanation of who you are, and then we'll do a deep dive.
Yeah, I'm Michael Clarke, aka InternationalHelps. I like to help people.
InternationalHelps. So like that's like your stage name, right? Like your rapper name, or is that kind of like how you identify yourself?
So the story about that is I was just Michael Helps, right? Like in the beginning, I like to use that one, in the beginning. Right? Just sitting there and watching a lot of content that my original mentors shared with me, and you watch, right? And I'm door knocking. I haven't found my first deal yet, and I'm trying to promote through social media like all these other guys are, right? Like trying to learn from watching the content. And then a good guy, Matt Scott from MJS Properties, he was one of my first guys that gave me a chance to do some construction work that wasn't masonry. Side note, I've been doing masonry since minimum wage was $7 an hour, right? Like bricklaying and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he gave me a chance to like come and tag along with the renovation. I'd met him through my original mentor, Matt Geertz, at the meetup that I run now, London Creative. That was Geertz. I call him Geertz. Shout out Geertz, 100%. Good guy. And I took it over. So I was watching that, and then one day he just, I kept like promoting, and I didn't really know what I was doing. Right? I didn't even really know. Like I didn't even really like I believed it because these guys were doing it and they told me I could do it. But so he just video chats me, he goes, "Man, you're trying to help people." And then I'm just like, help people? I'm like, Michael Helps. So it was Michael Helps, and on Instagram it was Michael Helps. But then like some person, an investor, he's like, "Oh, copy and paste this link and send it to me." I'm like, "Okay," and I did, and they took over my account.
Really?
So I had to change it. I changed it to InternationalHelps.
Oh wow!
And then I met Radio. Shout out Radio. And he just called me that, InternationalHelps, InternationalHelps. So I'm like, okay, that's it. I'll run with it.
That's
right?
Crazy. So it was because it got hacked, you had to change your whole name, and then now that's kind of what you are now.
100%. And the long-term 10-year goal is to help people internationally, right?
Yeah. So it's almost like given to you for a reason, if you kind of want to look at it that way.
It's all written, right? It's all written.
Yeah. So I guess like, because you kind of revealed a lot there. Like, how did you get involved with like real estate in general? Like, what made you want to like start like going into flips and doing the renovation process?
Like I said, like I didn't know at first, right? Like I didn't really know what I was getting into. I just the original thing was wholesaling, and then it comes hand in hand, right? And like depending on markets, like learning as I'm going, right? Depending on where the market is, you might have to pivot your strategy.
Yeah.
Right. Like shout out Musa, another person I've been talking to since day one, door knocking, right? When rates went up and it didn't make sense and you couldn't really wholesale, hotel, or find good deals on flips, he pivoted to development, right? And now he's doing big development stuff all over the place, right? So point is and then Daryl Wood, another guy, one of my original mentors, prices went up, so his deals didn't make sense unless he did Airbnb. So he pivoted to Airbnb, right? So it's good to have a bunch of tools in your belt. Like, I understand that guys like Alex Hormozy and even Zach Cahill, who I work with currently, shout out Zach, Cyber Homebuyers, they'll say laser focus. It's just, I don't know. And I guess laser focus on real estate, which is it's a broad statement, right? There's a lot of avenues in real estate you can take, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the first avenue that you took in real estate? Like when you didn't know nothing about real estate, what was the first like barrier to entry? Like how did you get into it?
Door knocking, man.
How'd you find out about it? Was it like something you saw some other people doing online, or?
No, not at all. I had no idea, right? I didn't know you could see this stuff online. No idea, right? So I guess you guys want like the original story.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, we have to go back.
Let's go back.
We got to take it back. Right?
Let's do it.
Like we're like, I'm talking like the G Unit mixtape days.
Jeez, those were the days,
right?
Yeah.
The G Unit mixtape days, okay?
Okay.
Tony Ayo, 50 Cent,
Yeah.
Lloyd Banks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, so as a person who didn't have a lot, like, a strong parental role model in my life, we could say that, right? So, I was out on my own young.
Okay.
I made choices that, I thought would get me ahead at, the tender age of 14, 15, 16, influenced by music such as, right?
50 Cent, yeah.
My friends, I did well. I did okay, right?
Yeah.
And my friends would say things to me like, you keep at it like this, one day you're gonna own half a Remax. I didn't know what that meant. Right? I'm like, Remax. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Just Remax.
Yeah.
Right? And then some stuff happened and this and that, and then I end up with my daughter's mom. Shout out Kaylee Graham. She's a powerful woman, love her to death. She's a great mom, right? And she would tell stories when we got together. She'd be like, "Oh, my uncle is very successful because he has rental properties." And I'm like, okay. So, I'm sitting back and I'm reflecting on that statement. I'm like, all right, so I'm going to start a business doing masonry. And then with my profits, I'm going to buy rental properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't happen like that, right? It's challenging working a job, right? And then trying to save money. Especially I had habits like, smoking and drinking, right? Whatever the case. So, long story short, years later, my daughter's born, this and that. And, we not like really making ends meet very well. We're like, you get into arguments, right? Like if, and they say, what do they say? Money is the root of all evil. But that's not true. The lack of money is the root of all evil, right? So you get in arguments, you get frustrated with each other, and who has to take it out on, right? So, long story short, I don't even want to go to work, right? Like I got a good job in the union, I'm laying brick, I'm making $40 an hour, but I got to drive to Toronto. I make excuses, right?
Yeah.
Excuse. Oh, well, I don't feel good, all my stomach, right? Like she gets mad. So we get into a fight one day, and, I just end up going to this house, right? And, I'm making poor decisions, right? Trying to make a quick buck instead of a slow dime, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in this house, right? It's it's a rooming house. It looks like it was a triplex at one time, but now it's like 10 rooms. I guess you can say that there's a bunch of people in there that seem to have given up on life and took the easy route that that check we all pay for and that some people get to receive. And some lady walks in, and she just doesn't, just regular average lady, right? Some track pants, driving old Dodge pickup truck. And she walks in, she asks me, she goes, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Like thinking like, oh. And she goes, "Oh, well, this is my house." I'm like, okay. And she's like, "How much money do you have in your pocket?" I'm like, it's a little bit of change, right? Like $80 or something, right? I'm like, "Oh, I got this, but I was just sleeping, and so I just woke up. I'm gonna go make some money now, She's like, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "I'm a mason. I lay bricks." She's like, "My late husband did that." Awesome. She's like, "You know where you are?" I'm like, "Where?" She's like, "You're in my house right now." It was the first of the month, and she pulled out this stack of money. It was like 4K. And she's like, I got 12 other ones to go to.
Jeez.
She said, guess what else? I'm like, what? She said, you can do this too. And she walks away, and I'm like, and I get up and I go after her. I chase after her, and I'm like, excuse me, what? Like, what? And she's like, yeah, you can do this too. Like, what? Like, you can do it. Like, why are you sitting here with my tenants? You know, they're yo-yos. They're yahoos, right? Like, you know, you don't look like somebody who should be here, right? Like, at the time, you know, I'm not doing super well, right? Like, I'm making good money, but cost me like $80 a day to drive to work and back, right? Like, my money comes in and it goes, right? And like, you know, like I said, smoking, whatever the case, and I'm making excuses and throwing my money out the window for, right? And then she asked me some more questions. I give her some more, like, you know, I elaborate a little bit more on like why I'm there, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, okay, so first, you just got to stop doing whatever you're doing. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, you want to change your life? You have to change your friends. She's like, if you're here hanging out with these guys, you're these guys, right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And she's like, yeah, read these 2 books. And then here's my number. Call me. And I'm like, what?
What were
I'm
the
like,
2 books?
What?
I'm like, I'm not that good at reading. Right? I'm like, that's going to take me a long time. Like, I can read, but like, you know, like later. No, it's not that bad. Like, but, you know. So it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
Right? So I'm like, all right. And like, you know, so I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, you're going to own half a Remax. Well, my uncle did well because he did rental properties. I'm like, oh, what the, like, almost like it was like all these signs, right? Yeah. Thinking back on it. And then, so I went back to my daughter's mother's house and my daughter and my son Jaden. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, you guys are never, guess what happened? All this stuff. And like, they're all like, no, Mike, okay? That's not true. Like, I'm like, nobody talk to me. I'm on Do Not Disturb right now, right? And I listen to the books on YouTube because she told me, she's like, they're free on YouTube, man. Just listen to them. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I literally like just sat there for like the next, but I listened to Richest Man in Babylon first. And I really took that in. And like I sort of did Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was like, oh, whatever, right? Some other madness happened. I end up in London, right? Like we're done, me and her, done. You know, we've been together for 13 years and I leave everything. Like I'm out here. I got like the clothes on my back, right? I got no vehicle. I got like holy shoes. And then I got a place at, you guys know the corner of South and Maitland?
South and Maitland, yes.
In the Soho there?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
It's Tequila and Tacos now?
Yeah.
At this time, they were renovating that place, Tequila and Tacos. I lived upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And there, you know, I slept on the floor. I had my one outfit, right? And then previously, I talked to the late Ann Tamber. Shout out to Ann Tamber. I talked to her. I'm like, yeah, I'm out here, and you know, I'm gonna go to school to do this and that. She's like, I thought you wanted to be financially free. I'm like, I do. I thought you wanted to get into real estate. I'm like, I do. I was like, you know, I'll do this job, go to school, do the job, and then I'll invest in real estate. She's like, no, talk to these 10 people. She gave me a list of 10 people. It was Jeff Weibel, Mike Rosehart, Matt McKeever, whatever the list was. I messaged all these guys, right? And none of them responded. Of course, everybody's busy, right? You know how it is. We get busy, right? But one person responded, and that was Matt Geertz.
Oh, okay.
So, and then that was the start of it. So I'm talking to Matt now, and I meet him, and like I sit down with Geertz there, and like this guy's like so high energy. He's like real estate this and rental properties that. And I'm like almost getting tired, like. And then after like 45 minutes, he's like, so how can I help you? I'm like, well, you know, I live with like 7 guys that, you know, they all don't seem like the best guy. You know, there's no kitchen. At the time, there's no kitchen where I lived. No kitchen, right? 2 bathrooms, 8 rooms. I lived in one of them. Anyway, so I can need a better place to live. He's like, I can't help you with that. He's like, but come to my investors meetup. London Creative, right? That's my meetup now. Like he's passed it to me. Like I took over, right? So I go there. Right? Like there's a little bit more to the story that I'm not 100% telling you about, but
Yeah.
it's okay. But so anyway, I end up at this meetup. I smoke cigarettes still at the time. I go there, right? And like I said, I got my one outfit. And I wish I could remember everybody's names. But I'm not even gonna sit there and try to think about it right now. So I'm tired. I've been I've been going and doing shows the last 2 nights, so
Yeah.
that's valid to me. But the one gentleman to my left, and then Matt, Glenn Sutherland. I don't know if you guys know Glenn Sutherland. He does a coaching program. Canadians investing in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, he's it was before that started, but it was them and another gentleman. So they're like, "Oh, do you got, like the waiter's like, you want something to drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have water. Yeah, I just drink water, yeah." And they come around, "Oh, you want something to eat?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I ate before I came, right?" And then somebody's like, "He's got no money," right? Like I don't think I was supposed to hear that, but I did. And then I had to leave, right? For whatever reason, I got up to go, and then the guy beside me, he's like, "Listen, man, you got no money. Airbnb management and wholesaling." And I'm nervous. My confidence is low, right? I just went through some stuff, and everybody's got suits on. I got right. So I leave and I go and I light a cigarette and I start to walk away, and I'm like, I should probably write that down, right? I had a duotang. It was green. It had a dinosaur on it, and I bought it from the dollar store. Some loose leaves, and I came back and I'm like, "Hey man, can you tell me what you just said again?" And he said it, and I wrote it down. I went home and I YouTubed it, and I'm seeing Mike Rosehart, and I'm seeing all these things, and then some guys in the States, and he's like, "Yeah, I just wholesaled my deal. I made $20K," and I'm like, so, and that was like the start, right? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Like, I have one question. What do you think it was about you that made the lady like speak to you and tell you, "Listen, like life isn't like this. You can do way better." Like, what do you think it was about you that made her go out of her way?
It's really been like that my whole life. It really has, man. Like, I got some stuff that I don't like really going into it because it's a depressing topic, right? Like, these hard times or whatever people go through, right? Like, and I think like growing up and what are people seeing that about me, but I'm a good looking lad, right? Like I've been told anyway. And so people have always like seen something in me, right? And like sometimes you don't see things in yourself, right?
True. 100%.
So I think that's why,
yeah. That's amazing, man. Like, just to because we met her, right? At the Castile Casa over there.
That's right. Yeah.
She, honestly, I've like even heard you say to her, it's like, "Yo, like this is like she helped she helped you so much."
Yeah.
And like now, like when I heard that story, I was trying to put the two and two, and I'm like, "Oh, that's exactly where this is going."
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, like, now you're so like you always have this really high energy and like you're really cheerful, and like, have you always been like this?
Yeah, man. It's all huge on energy. We actually reflected on it before.
Yeah.
I think the last time we were together, before last night, if you're around people that are low vibrating, angry, any of those things, like moving at a greed, moving at a, and I'm a firm believer of all these things. Like I'm not really, I believe in God. Yeah. I'm not like, I don't go to church. Right. Like I don't read like the like the Bible or any of that stuff. I believe in God. I say prayers or affirmations, whatever they are. Right. But you get around the wrong people, the energies are like you'll mimic them and act like them. Like especially me. Like I can definitely admit that like I'm easily influenced. Right. So if I'm around the right people, I'll have a good time. When I'm around by myself, a lot of times I'm good. But just trying to do good with diet, trying to do good with the gym, and just right, like just being happy for the smaller things in life, right? Like I hope that answers your.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What was it hard for you to let go of those previous friends?
No, because you snap out of it and you get away from it and you get some success behind you. And like, I'm not a place. I have people that reach out to me that they'll reach out when they're in hard times, and I'll say, "Okay, well, come stay on my couch, and come, and I'll show you exactly how I did it, exactly how I did it. Because if I can do it, you can do it." And guess what, buddy? You don't got a tattoo on your face, and I do, so it might be a little bit easier for you, right? Maybe. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah. When this happens, yeah. When that happens, yeah. I'm like, okay, talk to you soon. And then they don't show up, right? Or somebody's like, "Hey man, can you lend me a couple bucks?" And I'm like, "No, no, I can't, right? Like, hey, I don't know if anybody knows this, like starting your own business and like, you know, working commission based when the deal closes, but like sometimes the account's slim, right? So,
Yeah, of course.
okay, lend some money. I'm like, what money, man?
Yeah.
Right. But so yeah, and stuff like that, right? But then like I have friends that I've known for years that like I still like my brother / best friend, like Jeff and Josh Kingston. Like I've known those guys since I was like 15 and slept on their couch at a 15-year-old with nowhere else to go. And I like their kids call me uncle, my kids call them uncle, right? And like I go to their every Christmas, every Easter, right? So it is, yes, right, but it isn't at the same time. It all depends on the choices they're making today. At the end of the day, right?
100%. Like I agree with that. It's like you don't have to completely cut off, but as long as people are trying to better themselves every single day, and you can see them like going the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trying at least, right?
Yeah,
that's all it really takes these days is to try, right?
100%. Yeah.
So even too earlier there, you mentioned about having this face tattoo. How has that affected your life?
Honestly, it's I don't think it has.
Okay.
But well, in a note, right? So where I think I was like 30 right before this happened. Like I left my daughter's mother. There's a little period of time, and then I end up in London, and that's when I did it, right? And it was like I'm thinking to myself, this little girl's like 6, you know, like I got to get it together here. Like, you know, she's growing up, she's gonna watch me, right? So I'm like, you know, I think I'm gonna tattoo her name on my face, and then either I'm gonna be that I don't know that guy, or yeah, that's my dad, and that's my name type thing, right? So it was like inspirational. So yes, it helped me like that. Hold me back? I don't think so, but can I tell another little brief story here?
Of course, brother.
No,
Of
these are
course.
awesome.
Okay. So Geertz, right? Like, so after I see Geertz, he tells me to do right, and then I meet him a couple more times. He picks me up. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is my Airbnb over here, is right around the corner from my house." And he's like, "Oh, come." And then further down Gray Street, he got a duplex there at 100% VTB. He's saying these things to me at the time. I don't know what he means. I'm like, "Oh, yeah. VTB, oh, yeah, okay." Right? And then that's when he pitches to me eventually, right? Like, he's like, "Yeah, man, if you find me leads, I'll teach you." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool, man. What's a lead?" "Oh, what's the lead?" He's like, "People that want to sell their house." And I'm like, "That's no problem, man. That's easy. Yeah. For sale." Right there, bro. Can I get paid now? He's like, "No, Mike, no. That's not how it works, man." And then like I'm like, "No." He's like, "I can see that too." He's like, why would I pay you for that?" And I'm like, "Okay." Go home, I jump on the messenger. "Hey man, if you heard anybody, oh, my landlord's about to sell this 12-unit building." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Can I have his number?" Yeah. I call him like, "Hey, you're selling this building? Actually, man, I can give your number to my friend here." I'm like, "Hey, here's this number." He's like, "Yeah, Mike, that's not a deal, man. And like, that's 5 hours away." Like, right. So then finally we sit, like we're in his car and we're on our way. He's picking me up. We're going to the investor meetup, London Creative. And then finally I'm like, "Okay, man, so how do I do this? Like, how do I find these leads?" He's like, "I don't know, man. Why don't you try door knocking?" I'm like, "Matt, I got a fucking tattoo on my face, bro. No one's gonna sell me shit, man. Like, what do you?" and he looks at me. He's like, "You're gonna have to own that, Mike. Like, you don't really got an option." Yeah. Right. So and then I started door knocking. Right.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and how did people take that? Like when you first started door knocking, like did you clearly see people kind of like hesitant, or like was it just like?
At first, man, like at first it was like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even believe that this is real, right? Like I'm like, you know what? I don't got much to lose, right? Like I'm kind of like, I don't think I can get much lower, right? Yeah. So I'm out here doing this, and it took practice, man. Like, you know, at first I had that accent, and I'm like, yeah, so I'm trying to buy a house, you know, still a guy, like.
I know, man. We know the ones. We know.
You know, I'm looking for this house. Right. Anyway, so I got one. And I got one outfit, right? Like my shoes are holy, right? Like they're whole. So my buddy actually gave me a pair of Yeezys, like on that little gap of time where before I ended up in London. So yeah, like at first it was, but I did it every day. Every day. every day I did it. I wasn't working at the time, right? So I did it every day. And then I just got better and better and better. And eventually just got confident with it, right? And then it took about 8 months, but then I found my first deal.
Yeah, explain that first deal. Like, run us through that whole moment, bro. Like when you're like, okay, like this is actually a thing.
So, like I said, Matt Scott, in the meantime, I see him at the investors meetup, and he actually told me to read I think it's by David Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yes, yeah.
So I did.
Great book.
Yeah, 100%. Right. So I went and I listened to that, and like actually now, my friend / boss / coach, Jason, he's always on that same book, and I'm actually really adamant, and I'm really like in tune with working out of my Google Calendar, right? I'm not the best at it. Like saying I'm missing appointments, right? But I'm trying my hardest though. He told me to read that, so I'm I'm going and I'm doing demo work essentially, right? I'm a laborer. I started off as I carried the bricks, the bricklayers, and the mortar, right? Took down the scaffolding, blah 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 before I laid bricks. So you learn that job. It's like you can really relate it to any other job, right? Like it's not the exact same, of course, but so anyway, I worked there during the day, make some money, and then he's like, "Oh, you want to ride home, Mike?" Mm-hmm. I got to London. I didn't drive, right? I walked, right? I did all this door knocking, walking, right? Like, and I'm like, "No, man, I'm gonna door knock, right?" And then I was actually staying at his house, and door knocking, and then I'm seeing flyers and hearing about flyers. Or you go, "Oh, did you put the flyer in my mailbox?" And I'm like, "No, that wasn't me," but I'm trying to do the same thing. So I would sit there and I would stay up all night and I would write sticky notes, right? That you get 4 packs for $1.25, right? That's like 200 notes. That's 200 doors, and I just write them. So door knock, got too late, stick notes on doors, or I would make sure I got out before people got home at 4 o'clock. So I go 3 and I just stick notes and I just hammer neighborhoods.
Bro, that's actually
so smart.
That's actually so smart.
Yeah, and then so there's probably a more efficient way of doing it. Like,
no, but like listen, like
I'm talking like scribbly note. Like people that I'm on Instagram are like, "Yeah, looking to buy your house," and then people are like. And I'm like, yeah, my note. People are like, oh, so you're that guy that put that scribbly note on my door that I couldn't read. I'm like, well, yeah, man, after 75 of them in a night, so. Anyway.
They start to get a little scribbly.
Right. Yeah. So Matt's house was like over here on McKay, and then Appel's over here. So I got right to his house. I wouldn't even shower. I would just go and I would hit doors. Do, knock, 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 knock. And then it would get dark and I would just go and stick. And then, somebody called me. Oh, so what is this on my door? I'm like, oh, I could tell him like my script, right? And because that was Matt, first thing he said, like, you should write a script. Yeah. I'll tell you though, like you write a script, like after knocking on 100 doors, it's not the same thing that you wrote down.
No, yeah.
No, you got to figure it out, right? And then they said it, and I'm like, okay, no problem. And then I added to the system, right? And then I just keep going on about my work for this person, door knocking, this and that. And like actually my duplex, I found that lead at that time, right? It wasn't for a year later that I closed on it because you have to keep following up, right? The money's in the follow up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeff Ibo showed me that one on his Instagram. So yeah, and then like I got like deterred, right? Like I got like, oh man, when this is gonna happen? Is it ever gonna happen? Right? This and that. And then like I'm like started to Matt. I'm like, yeah, Matt, I don't know, man. He's like, oh yeah, I'm buying a Appel. I'm like, you're what? He's like, yeah, man, you found a deal. I'm buying a Appel. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a hoarder house. Yeah, man. There's a hoarder house, and then me, Tanner. Shout out Tanner. Tanner's lawn gardening. I don't know the exact name. Sorry, brother. I'll get it right next time. Me, him, and his friend Tristan. Yeah, man, we got that hoarder house empty. I think there was jarred beets, like 500 of these jars inside the basement, right? Yeah, man. Like some of the things I've done like probably 4 hoarder houses and done the clean out, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we got it done, and then I got paid to find the deal. I got paid to help do the renovations that I learned from Matt Scott. Daryl Wood did the renovations. We had to fire a GC general contractor because he was, installing bathtubs without hooking up the drains first and just making it look like he's doing work, but he's really not. Yeah, man. And then sold it. Market got hot, and he did well, man. And like the COVID happened during this, right? Like I'm door knocking for like 3 months, and then all of a sudden COVID happens, right? Like Matt Scott said to me, he's like, yeah, man, this thing, I don't know, man, we should probably all stay inside like they're saying on the news. I'm like, okay, I'll stay inside, and then I didn't.
Yeah.
I went and door knocked, man.
Of
And
course.
that COVID times, that changed my life, man.
Yeah.
I could have stayed inside, not did nothing, and I would have been in the same spot, right?
Yeah.
100%.
And it was the hot market.
Yeah.
So
So if you don't mind me asking, like how much did you make your first deal?
my first deal, I think I made $4K.
Which is still like sick.
still-
It's 4K. Like fuck, I'm still happy about 4K. Like,
I'm happy about anything.
you know what I mean? Like
a dollar's a dollar.
Right.
man, but 4K is heavy, and like how many deals were you able to like close during the COVID period?
Man, so 8 months, and then that one happened, and then like I said, you get leads, and you got to follow up on them. But I bought a laptop after a couple closed, but I've never owned a laptop, right? I didn't finish high school. I dropped out of high school. I failed all through. Like I was one of those guys, right? Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that later and just not do it. So like I got this computer and I don't even know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Geertz is saying, he's like, yeah, man, you should stay organized. Use Google Sheets, Google Drive, all these things. I'm like, oh yeah, no problem, bro. Yeah, I'm on that. I got, it's like a foreign concept to me, right? I got like notebooks. I'm just writing down like, and I got the notebooks today. I got a stack of notebooks, bro. And like a lot of it is affirmations. I find real estate deals easily, frequently, abundantly, in cursive, right? Because I worked that was one thing.
We learned it back in the day too.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I was good at in school, writing cursive.
I love that.
My teacher's like,
the good one.
My teacher's like, yeah, you're good. I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, and then just following up on leads, right? So 8 months, but then like something happened. I was helping Kevin Hashagan, another great guy. Demo was 5-plex. He got a 5-plex there at William and Bathurst, and he bought it for $375 off Leo Stranos, and it wasn't a joke. It was a serious it was like a single family home with like 4 other units hacked onto it, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw that happen, and then like something happened, or like I think if it happened to somebody else, maybe they would stop and leave and not come back, but I didn't, and I just kept going. And then all of a sudden,
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Of course, yeah, no worries.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, and then the year passed, and then all of a sudden I'm on my friend Tim. Shout out Tim, touchdown Tim, baby, Tim Mueller. Mulhern, let's go, baby. I'm on his couch, and I met him through Jason Cook. I knew Jason Cook, and Jason Cook's my friend now. He helps me with my renovations and whatnot, right? So Jason introduced me to Tim, and some stuff happened. I was living at this lady named Candace Keeling's house, in-house managing her Airbnb. So like I got to live there for like free, and I just made sure the common areas were clean. I made just took out the recycling and stuff like that, just like easy stuff. And like this nice house in a better part of London than the Soho spot, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, and also now I'm on Tim's couch, right? Like some stuff happened. I'm on Tim's couch, and then somebody that I was following that I knew from Lindsay, because I used to live in a town called Lindsay, Peterborough, right?
Second guest back to back with Lindsay.
Right.
Our last guest was from Lindsay also.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm not from Lindsay. Don't please. I'm not from Lindsay.
Lindsay breeds some monsters, eh? Something in their tap water.
Yeah, literally. The boonies are different.
I lived there for 7 years, and I lived in Peterborough for a bit. I'm from Oshawa. I was born in Oshawa.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, Oshawa City. And then all of a sudden, like, bam, 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 like 7 deals closed.
Jeez.
Next thing you know, like I'm out of debt, right? Like I started off $60,000 in bad debt to like Rogers 407, like child support, like just my credit score was shot, right? And like I door knocked my way out of that. Then all of a sudden I'm out of it, and I got money in my pocket. And then Brenda, my friend Brenda, shout out Brenda Chappelle, I love you to death. She's an angel. She's like my grandma passed, and then like I don't mean to say it like that. I'm sorry, Brenda. But it's like I get a new one, right? And like I knock on her door a year prior, and like I forgot even that she was talking about selling the house, right? I just every month we go grab something to eat. It's like spending time with a relative, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't have a lot of family, like my mom and my grandma, but I do have my dad's side that I met when I was 19. But they're out in Quebec. They have hunting, and shout out Chalets, Diane. Book a visit. You want to hunt? You like fishing and actually catching fish? Okay. Shout outs all day, all night. Right. So, you make family, you make friends where you can, right? When you're me. So one day, like we're just out for dinner, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm ready to sell you my house now. I'm like, uh, uh, uh okay. And then she's like, okay. I'm like, all right, let's do it. She's like, all right. I'm like, okay. And she's like, you want to see it first? I'm like, probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? Because before I'm just a bird dog, right?
Yeah.
I get the lead, I get the information. You want to sell? What reason? Name, address. Here you go, Geertz. And then he's got an assistant, and then books the call, and he gets under contract, right?
Yeah.
We're like, because teamwork makes the dream work.
100%.
Right? You know, like making money is a team sport.
Yeah.
But if you're not saving and investing, what are you doing?
Yeah. But it's you were nurturing that relationship for a year.
Yeah.
You're going out for dinner like
Yeah.
with no like actual like
Intention.
intention to close.
No, I completely forgot about it. And then she
Wow.
brought it back up. And then I
She
seen
goes,
it.
I'm ready to sell it to you. That's cool.
We got it under contract, and I went to Geertz house. I'm like, oh, I got this, man. I'm gonna keep this one, man. It's a duplex because Paul Cash, a realtor, one of the first leads I found going like off signs. Then Geertz entertained it. He was like, let's go sit down, Paul Cash. So we sit down, and then I'm like, yeah, I want to start with a fourplex. And he's like, you should probably start with a duplex. That's what most people do. And I'm like, nah, dog, you know, I'm big ting of guan, you know. Guys, I got suits on. I got my one outfit. Right?
Yeah, you're feeling nice.
Right? So, and that's another thing. Like, anyway, we'll finish the story. So then, yeah, I go to Geertz. He shows me how to do the paperwork. Right, he sends me a copy of it to my email. I still like every deal that I did. He sent me like here, but like I said, I'm so like not good with my computer. I'm not even, you know, I could be watching this and going over it and like doing it myself, but you know, I'm content with what's going on. Right, it's all new to me. I did the paperwork, got the VTB second position, 75K. Purchase price was 275 in the hot market. VTB second position, 2%, 2 years, no penalties to break. I went back to my masonry job in the union, called them, squared up with my dues, went back to work. So I'm in high rise, slugging blocks. So I got good income. Jared Coyne, you need a mortgage? Shout out Jared Coyne. Great guy. Got my mortgage in first position. She got her money. She got that money. She lent me 50K. No note, no interest, no nothing. Here you go, your 50K to renovate the house. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. That went quick.
Yeah.
Right, that went quick. And then Tim. So you know, I talked to at the time it was Flip London, but now it's Cara Designs. Jackie and Stefano Crancy. You know, I went there because they started doing the stuff with Kevin at the Fiveplex I was demoing.
Yeah.
You know, he gave me the HVAC guy I needed, plumber I needed, right? Like it's long story short, it's a great community. Yeah. Right. It is one to be in, right? Yeah. And yeah, that's how I started. I did the demo, did the clean out work with the same people, and then they did the roughing work, and then me and Tim, we closed her up, man. And like I worked during the day slugging blocks, dirty and high vis. Yeah. Went home. I had a nice place in Masonville that I stayed for a bit, but eventually like it makes no sense. I'm just messing this place up and I'm paying the mortgage in this, right? Yeah. Go home, work in that place, sleep in dirt, wake up in dirt, work a little bit more, go to work, get dirty. Weekend comes and it was like it was a grind, man. It's been a grind and it's fun, right?
Yeah. And then the house hacking king evolved.
Yes. I love that. Right? Yeah, the refinance is great. I put helped out, Michael Helps, International Helps, Ukrainian brothers with the wife there, fresh from Ukraine, rented out upstairs. No credit history, no nothing. Right, they're new, and then Michelle Tygrove, shout out Michelle Tygrove. You need a leasing agent. Michelle's the one to go to, right? Because I got a big heart, right? I come from right, so there's people coming, right, and they're like, oh, I live in this shelter and my baby dad beat me up, and I'm like, oh my God, you poor soul. I better rent you a place, right? But like Aunt Amber, you feel sorry for people, you rent them a place, you'll feel sorry for yourself in the long run, right? Mm-hmm. Plus, I didn't have time. I got to renovate the downstairs, so I just hired Michelle. She took care of it, put this Ukrainian family in there, and it was great, man. And then perfect burr. Yeah, paid all right. I had more money. Like Tim's girlfriend lent me 20. My mom lent me 15. Yeah. Right. So I paid everybody. I paid Tim the whole time, but I gave him cut him another check, and there you go, the house hat king. Yeah.
But it's cool to see kind of the evolution of it all, right? Because you would the first person you would have asked maybe would have turned you away, but as you kept progressing and getting further down the line, everybody's just like, oh, I believe in him, right? Yes. It goes back to the beginning of the whole story from here.
What amazes me is the fact that it seems like you're a networking king, man. Like the way, like you probably shouted out like at least 5 to 10 people just within this span, you know what I mean? But it just goes to show like how you're intentfully meeting people and giving back to them, right? Like it's something special, because like I find like a lot of people find networking is the tough part, where like you kind of like, you don't think about it like that, kind of maybe comes natural.
I think at one point so I don't know, I think I went to like 20 different public schools, like 10 different high schools, and then like the life I lived afterwards, man, like I've been in front of a lot of different people from a lot of different avenues and aspects of life.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, you know, then some stuff happened in a relationship that, yeah, it hurt my confidence, and what's the best way to get your confidence back? Go knock on 100 doors. I'll tell you by the end of that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You're back.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, man, so yeah, and the networking thing, man, I just like people, man. I like to get to know people, and reflecting on what you said about like I'm always like high energy and right, that comes from because like, you know, I was at a spot in my life, you know, people stop talking to you, right? Like family, right? They stop talking to you, and then like you know, you're deemed like you're never coming back type thing, right?
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden I'm like, you know, I you know, I get the privilege. I'm sitting here. I'm on a podcast with you guys, right? So like that you know, I sit there. I'm with Sammy and Dave. You know, they got just the network of people. You know, this. Yeah. Oh, I sit here with Anne. And she's got all these buildings and kitchen, right? Like it's like, yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought I had to read a book and knock on some doors, and all of a sudden my life just transforms, and like so it's like, you know, like it makes me happy. Yeah. And like I'm excited for the future, and like that's where that comes from, right?
Yeah. Why do you think you've pushed so hard, right? Because like people, another person in your situation, it maybe is not gonna go like as far as you did, right? Mm-hmm. What keeps you like going, man?
I feel like I haven't done nothing yet, and like that might be like some inner demons I have to battle and face, right? But it's just never good enough. It's not good enough, right? Like it's not, and I don't think it ever will be good enough, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that might be a problem, but like, you know, I don't, at the end of the day, you know, if I'm donating to, you know, this and building these centers to help prevent homelessness and stuff, and, you know, the whole thing that, Eleni and Daver goal is, and right, help my friends and the people that I've networked with grow, and it's off like my success. And then, you know, like that was a huge thing about the real estate thing, right? Like in the whole Michael Helps thing, like, in a real estate transaction, look how many people you help in one transaction.
True.
Look how many people eat at the table, right?
Yeah.
Lawyers, realtors, lenders, brokers, homeowners, me.
Yeah.
Construction workers. Shout out Stone Interior Exterior Renovations, Jason Cook. Oh, and if you need a realtor, let's not forget Justin Desick, Sutton Select Realty. Don't forget about that. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah. No, yeah, go ahead.
No, what do you think within yourself that you're most happy that changed over time?
I don't want to answer that question. No, I just started making better choices, man. But like, you know, like don't get me wrong, man. There's times where it's not easy for me, right? Like I'm not always like happy like this, right? You know, like there's, you know, I still go through it. I still go through struggles that follow me from my past in a couple avenues of my life, and you know, at those times I'm not me, right? Like I go, you know, you go backwards, but like what, you take a step backwards to go 3 forwards, right? Sometimes you take a step backwards and you start going forward, you just step back for me, right? But you know, I'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. What are you focusing on right now? Like you're right now, what's your day-to-day like what are your, I guess, like for the end of this year, like what are you really pushing on?
So right now I would like to sell the 2 deals we have under contract. Sudbury Home Bar. Shout out Zach Cahill, Brett Dillman, John. Let's go. And everybody inside that system. Jason, the Rent Live Own. Yeah, help those guys grow their stuff, right? Like I'm on the dispositions and investor relationships part of that. And then in my spare time, like the flip we just did. You know, I'm like, so now I'm wholesaling remotely. And like I said, I didn't know how to use a laptop. So when I met Zach, oh man, Matt Geertz, he retired, right? We made that COVID money. He's like, I'm out of here. See you later, Mike. I'm gone. And Funny story about Geertzky there. He'd be going to his what he met Lindsay in university. He went to university for to be an engineer, and he worked at Trojan. Do you guys know what Trojan is?
Yeah.
Cool. I don't have a clue, right?
Yeah.
I didn't,
on St. Thomas, I'm pretty sure. No.
something about water, I think.
Yeah.
I've
Listened to him talk, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a plane. I'm gonna buy a plane. I'm gonna plane." And then she says to him, she goes, "When we become millionaires, you can buy a plane, okay?" Like, so he's like, "Okay," and he went and got the book, The Millionaire Next Door, right? So he meets me, and then that was that was another thing that kept me going, right? Like, always been big on helping people, right? Whether like I thought I was helping them, but really I wasn't, or right, like not today, like actually helping people, So he went and bought a nice chunk of land out in Fort Erie in a nice house with his family and his kids, and got his plane, and right, and it was it was nice, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm wholesaling by myself and realizing how good it is to have a team. But yeah, man, like it's been crazy. End of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say you as a little kid, would you be proud of the man you are today?
Yeah, 100%. Right? Like I'll say 100%, but like I almost went back to the place where I'm like, it's not good enough yet. So I'd be like, go harder, Mike. Go harder.
Yeah.
This is me as a little kid, man. Like, yeah, man. Like like I said, I don't want to talk about too much, but me in my room. I spent time in my room quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I just remember like listening to music and like visualizing myself with the crowd in front of me, like a big crowd, like packed venue, and me just doing music, right? So
yeah. So is that kind of like what keeps you like in the entertainment business in music? And
yeah, well, that's just, I just love it, and it's fun for me, man. Like that is fun, right? Like you were there last night, man.
I seen. Yeah, that's the one thing. You have great energy. You're just like going here, talking this, like almost like you're singing to, like, yeah, you. I can see with what you said there, where like that whole vision of like this is where I'm gonna be. I did see that type of energy last night, 100%. Thank you.
Right, like I don't know if you see me at like the other venues, like I don't just talk to this person. I talk to everybody. I'm talking to the youngster. I'm talking to his mom. Yeah. I'm talking to like out at St. Thomas. There's like some ladies that are they got more wisdom than others. Yeah. They're dancing. I'm dancing with them. Right? Yeah. Like I'm talking to the bartenders. I'm talking to the owner. Right. Like this. Yeah. So yeah, it's great, man. And like
networking.
Yeah. That's and awesome. I'm not even like, I don't even call it networking. I'm just being me. I'm just talking to people. Right. Like,
yeah. International networking.
Right. There you go. Right.
What is it about the performing and like the music that like that you love the most?
I just tell a story about my life, man. If you listen to my lyrics, you can get a lot out of it, right?
Like, yo, tell our audience like like where to find you, your music, because I feel like that's important, man.
Okay, so the whole goal is to be like, I do a show and it's like I'm motivational speaking, but I'm educating, and then just like little skits of like songs, so you can find me on Spotify. You can find me on all platforms, man. Michael Helps with 2 S's. MichaelHelpss. And then like, yeah.
No, it's fire.
Yeah. That's interesting how it's not like you're not just performing your music. Like you're intentfully trying to motivate, trying to like encourage the crowd, like and then you're adding your music in between.
Let's go.
Let's go. Track 6, I think, one of my favorite. Yeah. Shout out The Accomplice. He's my producer on that one and helped show me a lot of stuff, man. He's great. You can always reach out to him on all platforms there, Instagram, Facebook, and you could reach out and he'll record you, he'll produce you, right? Just of course it's a business for him. Mm-hmm. It's not that yet, right? Like I've done like my first show. That's what I did. I got up and I spoke a bit about my life and the challenge I've overcome before I went to each song, right? But like last night it was 3 days of this stuff, and I'm just like, let's get this done and just have some fun, right? Like, but progression all the time, right?
100%.
Yeah. So I got room to grow.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, it's awesome.
I guess what are your goals for the next like couple years?
I didn't answer that. Thank you. So by the end of the year, I want to help. I want to wholesale the deals that I have. Help grow that company and then expand into different places. And at the same time, because that's why I detoured and didn't answer the question. So the flip, I wholesaled my first deal remotely. That was great, and it took a while because it hasn't been easy to wholesale lately. The last 2 flips, that will happen. I got under contract to wholesale it, and people didn't want to buy the deal. Everybody scared, right? So my goal is to keep building my company, right? London and St. Thomas through wholesaling and flipping, and then connect it with Sudbury home buyers, and then expand larger, and then of course I want to get some multifamily acquisitions. I want to pull those burrs, I want to get so in 5 years I'm doing my refi, and then every year I'm doing a refi on a larger multifamily, right?
Yeah.
Right, and just help my friends grow. That's it, man.
Yeah. The multifamilies are different.
Crazy,
The multifamilies are different.
Yeah.
When you find out about that, and like you've kind of found, like you learned the basics, and you find out multifamily, like, why am I even doing the basics? But you got to do the basics first before you get to the multifamilies, So it's pretty unique, but yeah, it's all about the multifamilies.
100%.
It's one of those things. Like, do you guys know Stefan Arnio?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that was like the first videos I watched, right? Stefan Arnio, and then I have some of his books and whatever. But that's what he said. He's like, first you get the fast money, wholesaling, then you get the big money, flipping. Once you have $100K after taxes in your account, then you start investing and doing larger burrs and holding your properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an entire thing.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Damn, bro.
Let's go, guys.
Fine, bro.
I love it.
Let's go, guys.
So, like, even too, at this point, is there anything like you want to plug in, let anybody know that's coming up? You're doing like, where they can find you, everything like that.
So on Facebook, I try to keep it separate, but it's all blending in. But on Facebook, I'm Michael Clarke, MichealClarke. I got a suit on and a yellow background, so it's. Even though because there's a million Michael Clarks, right?
Yeah. Hard to miss with the yellow background.
Right.
Or the face tag. Come on.
And then on Instagram, I'm InternationalHelps, INT Same, every platform pretty much, right? Michael Clarke or InternationalHelps.
We'll plug it for sure, like right at the bottom. You guys know where to click.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%, bro. But honestly, Michael Clarke, honestly, thanks so much, bro, for coming on and sitting with us. I would love to have you on in like 6 months, a year, because I feel like you're kind of just getting started in a way. You said, like you're not done, you're not close to where you want to be, and I could really sense that energy from you, bro. And thanks for like even sitting down with us and sharing this story, because I feel like it's very important. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where like you're really a 1%er. Like you're someone who was in a situation and you got out like the right way, and you're still like pushing through. So. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Like straight up, your story's fucking amazing. Like I'll tell you that. Yeah. Write a book about it one day. We're talking to it.
Honestly, that's the goal eventually. Write a book, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more avenues we could speak about, man. Like, people ask me about things, or I hear them say something, and then like I tell them, and then after I tell them, like, I didn't read that in a book. Like I lived that. So that's wisdom that I just let you know that, maybe you shouldn't do it like this and try it like this. Right. But
yeah.
So thank you guys for having me out, man. I really appreciate this. And I can't wait to see this grow.
Yeah.
This is fire 100%.
No, 100%, bro. Thank you. And for all of you who've watched thus far, another great episode for you guys. You guys are always spoiled every single week. Bangers,
bangers.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Peace.